So Gilbert, listen, whenever I see you though, you are generally a very upbeat guy. You're very smiley. You're generally a happy guy. Like, what is it about you that you're kind of just usually a pretty happy guy? You just love life. What's the deal?
Yeah, I love life. I'm alive. I came from a very humble beginning. I still grateful. I'm a believer. I believe in God. I'm here to honor Him in everything that I do. And if I'm doing anything that I'm doing that I put myself to do, I'm gonna do my best. So yeah, I am a happy person. I think happiness you gotta choose. And I choose to be happy, and I am happy.
And that's great. You love to hear that, right? Now, one thing I saw you said recently, or you talking about obviously this coming fight, and just you in general, is you referred to yourself as getting freaking old, which
Yeah.
kind of hurt me because I'm older than you. So that wasn't really fun to hear. But also, just the fact that you're saying you've only got like a handful of fights left, but not two handfuls of fights. There's only so many fights here. One of them is this weekend against Sean Brady. How will you know when you are at the end, though? When will you know it's time?
Uh it's just it's kind of hard right now to keep my body 100% healthy. I'm getting a little bit more injured, so I kind of got to slow down my pace. I got to train, but then I got to do a lot more recovery. I'm investing so much in the recovery and red light therapy, cold plunges, sauna, Normatec, all the technology, hyperbaric chamber. I'm doing that. I have all that at home. I'm spending more time doing it. I can feel it, and sometimes I still don't recover as I want it. I can feel that a little bit, me slowing down a little bit, not doing as much practice as I used to. That's one signal. But I still, whenever I'm on my best, either in a training or in a fight, I still feel I can beat so many guys out there. I still have a lot of fight in me. I don't have like those young fighters, 20 more fights. I don't think I have all of that. I still have a couple good fights on me. But my goal is to become a champion. So Saturday night, I I'm pretty sure, I believe I'm gonna beat Sean Brady. Then I want to make another big fight to earn that title shot and fight for the title and win that title. But we'll see. I still have a couple more fights in me. I'm still happy. I'm just for the sport. This is a young man sport. So if I'm hanging out a little bit more here, eventually I might get hurt. So what I'm trying to say is, right now I'm taking so much care of myself, but I still chasing that goal. Not no more than that. If I end up losing one or two more and then these things happen, I might call it, because that's when I know it's getting too far for the title. That's when I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not hanging out right here. There's a lot of other things that I can do. But right now still the goal is to get that title.
Sure, sure. When did you kind of start to feel like, hey, the recovery is taking a lot longer than it really used to? Was it in the last
Uh,
year or two? When did you start noticing?
the last year when I had that shoulder injury against Belal Muhammad, that took like 6 months, and then whenever I was free to get back on training, it took me like 2 months, like just to get in shape to go back, like almost 3 months. That's when I like, wow. Before, if I was a little bit without training, I never took 6 months out. I always train. I love to train, but whenever I was out of shape, it takes me like 2, maybe 3 weeks to get in shape. This time took me like 2 months and a half, and then like, oh my god, okay. And then little injuries that like simple injuries that like you kick a guy's elbow when he block, and that one is 2 days I'm cool, and now it's taking like 2 weeks to get better. Little things that used to go out easy is taking like 2 weeks, and they're like, okay, I gotta take care of myself a little bit better.
Now you hear that from a lot of like, I don't want to say older fighters, but let's say fighters with a lot
Yeah.
more experience under the belt, like you and someone who's echoed this to me is Jim Miller. Like he says, listen, I can show up to the fight. It's not the problem of the fight, it's
Yes.
getting ready for the fight. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. So now what we're doing, I'm a higher. I have my own strength conditioning coach that do everything for me. The team has their own. He's a great strength conditioning too, but I need to have a guy extra just to do my things. I have my own physical therapist that probably goes to my house almost every day. after session to adjust to see any little injuries. Then I gotta go to the whole protocol: hyperbaric chamber, sauna, ice, normal tech, these things, that thing. So that's kind of like my routine is. I like it. I don't mind, but before wasn't that much. It was a little bit of adjust, a nap, boom, let's go next session. Now it's a lot of work just to go to the next session.
Sure, sure. Now, look, obviously you've got plans in between the end and now, you're looking to get that championship, win that championship, right? Get back there and get that belt. Have you thought about what life will look like for you when fighting is done? Do you have sort of plans
Yeah,
in mind? Do you kind of like envision what life will look like when you're not competing anymore?
yeah, for sure. I'm a parent. I have two kids already, so I'm gonna spend a lot more time with my kids. They love the sport of American football. They playing already, so I'm gonna be driving these guys everywhere to do practice, to do extra training, privates, recovery, and everything. But on the side too, I think I'm gonna do a little bit of managing podcasts, couple YouTubes. Let's see. I'm already They have two YouTube channels, one American, one in Portuguese. They're doing very good. I have a podcast that's growing a lot too. I have other partnerships with the supplement companies. Yeah, I think I'm still gonna be busy, but less training. Like I still gonna train a lot. I still love to train, but maybe less sparring, less hard training. Still gonna train and be in shape, but less MMA training, more grappling, more physical training.
Sure, no, that makes sense. And speaking of the grappling, and I want to get back over to your opponent, of course, and this fight that you have against him, Sean Brady. He is best known for this grappling, but you're, of course, a highly respected grappler in your own right. You've got 9 submission wins. I was surprised to find that you only have one submission since you jumped up to 170, the one against Neil Magny. Great one, of course. But do you believe that maybe like going up in weight might have had anything to do with kind of like finding it harder to get those submissions, or is it really more the level of competition?
Was the competition. I fought Demian Maia, that was a grappler. I fought Tyron Woodley, that was a good wrestler, black belt in jiu-jitsu too. Then I fought Kamaru Usman, that I trained very much. We didn't grapple. Then I fought Stephen Thompson. He defended good submissions. Then Shimaev, very hard to submit, a high level wrestler too. Then the competition was with a good level of grappling and wrestling at 170. So I was a little harder to get that. So it wasn't that easy. But I still train a lot jiu-jitsu. I still love jiu-jitsu. I still have like a great like arsenal of submissions in me. But a lot of guys, we kind of they avoid the grappling. Like Shima, Usman. A lot of guys they avoid the grappling, so it's hard on that department.
Do you expect that to be the case here? Because again, we've seen a lot of Sean Brady going to the grappling. I mean, I think on paper it looks like there could be a significant grappling component to this fight, right?
I hope we grapple. Yeah, I think we're gonna grapple. I think I'm gonna look for grappling. I'm gonna look for takedowns. I think he's gonna look at you. We might avoid each other, and it might be a battle on the feet. But maybe I get a good takedown. Maybe he got a takedown and we grapple. So I'm excited to see. I still think strongly that we're gonna grapple.
Now, of course, you're coming in on your first losing streak of your career, which
Yeah,
obviously isn't fun, but these were against top guys. Jack
yeah.
Della Maddalena is now really high up in there. Belal Muhammad, the champion now. So obviously you're losing to some of the best in this little mini streak here, or this mini skid. But what are some of kind of the positives you can kind of take away from that? Because especially against Jack Della, you were close to winning that fight. You must take away some positives from these, right?
Oh, he's life, bro. I think he's life. You got a couple ups and downs. You gotta keep rolling. Gotta keep getting better. Uh, I learned a lot on those fights, and then I'm in a good spirit right now. It happens. Especially the way I fight, the level of competition I face. I wish I could have win every time, but yeah, we saw a lot of champions, a lot of guys, but they don't have a lot of fights. They don't have a they defend the belt 1 or 2 times. They did these, they did that, but I'm on the top of that division for years already. Facing the best guys. Never said no to the UFC. yeah, that happens, you know. So I just cannot keep the same making the same mistakes, you know. So that's what I'm doing, just keep getting better. But it's life, you know. I'm cool with my journey, cool with the results. I'm learning, or I'm winning, or I'm learning. So it's all good.
Of course, and like you said, you are fighting these top guys. This is another top 10 guy. You basically only fight top 10 guys like yourself. Do you kind of have a plan in mind? Because obviously you want things to go your way this weekend, and if they do you have kind of an idea of like who you might want to like a name you want to put out there is like because
Good.
you're looking to get back to the title. Maybe you give them a name that you can kind of get back there the way you want to as quick as you can, right?
I'll give them three names, you know, the
Mhm.
goal. And I believe I'm gonna beat Sean Brady. I don't think it's gonna be easy. I might get in trouble a little bit. I might put him in trouble a little bit, but I do believe at the end of the night I'm gonna win that fight. And for sure, I'm looking forward to a number one contender fight. You know, so we got a bit Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, or Kobe Covington. Those are the guys I'm looking forward to after I beat Sean Brady to fight one of these guys and earn a title shot with a win over these guys.
Sure, sure. Now, Belal, the champion, of course, he is just turned 36, and then he went on to win the championship a few weeks later. So there's another win for, maybe the older set, right? And in a sense, someone like you could probably look to that and say, hey, that's got to be a motivating factor. You could do it at any age, even when everyone was saying, oh, 35 and older, right? It's very hard to win. They always have that stat about on 170 and under, they have a hard time winning at 35. So you look at that and you say, hey, this is something inspiring.
For sure. He's always a motivation and stuff, you know, you kid. He's always when you have a problem, you always have you could see as a problem, you could see as opportunity. You know, I always try to see as an opportunity. And yeah, he's always motivating to prove people wrong. He's always nice.
Now, by the time you get back to that title that you're chasing, it might still be Muhammad. You might actually get a second chance, not only at the belt, but at him as well. When you look back at that first fight you guys had, which obviously it didn't go your way, but you found success later in that fight. When you look at that fight, what kind of takeaways did you take away from performance and maybe the way things could go differently if you two were to meet again?
I think it'll be very different. Especially, I got hurt on my shoulder on that first round. I have bad injury on my shoulder. I fought through the injury. Keep trying to fight. I didn't fight the way I wanted. End up losing. But I think a healthy Gilbert Burns, 100% there, I can beat any one of these guys. And for sure, I want that rematch back, you know, like that. That's the one that it was very hard for me to swallow, but I did because the guy beat me. He has no, I got injury, you know, wasn't he? He did a good job. But that's the one that I for sure want that fight back. I hope when I make to the fight for the title, he's the one holding, and we'll make that rematch.
Now the thinking is right now, obviously this doesn't affect you, but the thinking now is that Shavkat Rakhmonov would be the next to challenge for the title.
Yeah.
Is that what you think is best, or do you have anything else in mind that do you think someone else is more deserving, I should say?
I think Shavkat deserves right now, and I think they're gonna make that happen. You know, maybe I don't know if they're gonna be ready by December. I hope they do by December. But yeah, I think that's a nice fight.